Hello, all. This is Dr. Dave Maslach talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a three. And in this particular video, I want to talk about things about doing a PhD that nobody really talks about. So if you don't know me, I'm a professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can because there were so many people that helped me out to get through graduate school and to eventually become a professor that I wanted to do something about it. Right. So there is lots of different things that happen when you do a PhD and you go through academia. And I'm really open about all this kind of stuff on this channel. You can watch a bunch of the other videos. But I think that there's a lot of other things that are left unsaid, and a lot of people kind of experience these things, but nobody really talks about them. The first thing is that you will never be the same person once you do a PhD. Once you start digging into ideas and realizing how pliable that the world is in different ways, you really become a lot different in many fundamentally different ways that it's hard to explain what happens. One thing in it is you realize that the world is very pliable, or just that knowledge can change very rapidly. Those things are pretty insightful, and you realize how probabilistic that the world actually is when you start looking at all these kind of things. When you are going through an undergrad, you realize that the world has all these facts and you're studying all these facts. But when you do a PhD, you realize that it's really different, and you know that things are constantly changing and the world is constantly changing how we know it on a routine basis. Another thing, the number two thing, is that doing a PhD is really a personal journey. For most people, it's a very painful and difficult process. And a lot of people, as a corollary, don't actually make it through the PhD process in one way or the other. And I'm talking about the process of actually becoming, a true fundamental scholar, that when you're 75 years old, you're continuing on with scholarship activities, which is, I would consider, sort of the epitome of being a scholar, is that you just pursue it for the rest of your life and you enjoy pursuing that thing for the rest of your life. Turns out most people don't do that because there are many better options for them along the way, or they feel that there's many better options along the way, because actually doing this whole scholarship thing and pursuing academic ideas and pursuing ideas is really challenging and really difficult. You have to refine your ideas until they're really almost perfect, and people will still beat up on those ideas and they'll still pick them apart, which actually takes a toll on a lot of people. And it is a painful journey, but there's rewards at the end, but it's not clear what those particular rewards are. So that's one thing that I think it's important that nobody talks about, but we should be much more open about this sort of process of becoming a scholar in the long run. The third thing that I've realized is that people do a PhD, and it took me a few years of going through the PhD process, is that people do a PhD for all sorts of different reasons. They're motivated to do a PhD simply because that they are motivated for their own reasons. I know that seems a little bit wonky, but if you're like me, you probably thought that everybody else is doing the PhD because you like doing research, or that you liked doing sort of academic study, or whatever it is. But people go into a PhD for all sorts of reasons. They might be going there because their family is suggesting that they're doing that. They might be actually doing it because of the status. They might be doing it because of, I don't know, maybe it is they like to achieve different things. There's all sorts of different reasons, and everybody has their own independent reasons why they're actually doing that. Some people want to just go and teach at the end, and that's okay, and that's wonderful stuff. But you have to realize that when you're going through this journey, everybody else is doing all sorts of different things, and they have different motivations of doing those things. So just don't get caught up in the game that everybody else is the exact same thing as you and sort of pushing in the same sort of direction as you. It's just not going to happen out that way. The other thing, so a fourth thing to think about, is that that the stress and the demands that you feel when you first start out in that first week of your PhD, and even in graduate school, whatever that might be, it doesn't change, it doesn't go away, and it actually probably gets worse as you push through the journey and you become more and more of a scholar. It really does get more challenging. The reason is that as you gain more reputation, as you gain more success, more people start asking you to do different things and pulling you in different directions. And so it becomes much more challenging. And the problem is not necessarily saying yes to different things. As you are starting out, you want to say yes to all sorts of things, and you can, but the problem becomes saying no to many different things as you're continuing to push and go forward, and finding out what you truly want to do, and discovering what you really wanted to do as you go forward. Now, I think a fifth thing that a lot of people really misunderstand, I misunderstood, and I still misunderstand this on a regular basis, is that discovery takes years and years and years to do. The whole search process to come up with a good idea, it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort from many different people to actually get that thing done. And when you actually discover a great idea, that moment is very fleeting. It's only seconds where you feel that you've discovered something new, but the entire process to get there and to combine different things and combine different ideas and to mutate different ideas to get to the point where you're actually creating something that's new and different and interesting. That's a second, that feeling where you all clicks together and everything comes together. It takes a second to get there, and then you have to refine and push those ideas further until it becomes something even more interesting. So it's a lengthy process where this all comes together and all of a sudden it clicks, and then you continuously have to keep refining it to go forward. Now, the last thing, and I think this is the most important thing, is that academia as a whole revolves around a system of reciprocity and social norms. And you don't see that until you've worked in it for a while and you really discover the entire system is built on just being nice to other people and helping out other people as much as you can. And, even when it comes down to getting an academic reference, when you're getting into a PhD program or an academic program, it really depends on whether somebody's just going to be nice to you and offer their time and effort for you personally to write that letter to get into the academic system. It really, everything about the entire academic system is about reciprocity and just being nice to other people. Even when you get papers published or when you're going through the publication process, it's all about people giving you suggestions and writing that particular paper. So you might think academic scientific papers are written by one person. It's a community effort. As you continuously, what ends up happening is you write an idea, you write it down, you get answers and solutions from other people and problems that they are going to point out with that paper. You have to change it to reflect what they say. And then you continuously do that until you actually get it through the review process to get that academic article written. By the time you're done, you actually have a paper that's a combined effort of probably about 20 to 25 people at least that are giving you solutions and different ideas to move forward with this particular idea. So that's what I'm going to talk about with different things that nobody else talks about when you're doing a PhD. And I think that these are really important, and you probably should think about them a little bit more before you start your PhD or when you're going through your PhD, just to give you some insight that there's other people around the world that are experiencing these exact same things as you are. All right, so give me a thumbs up if you like this video and do subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right, take care. Bye.